The DNA report glowed on my laptop screen like a death sentence. The words 99.9% probability of half-sibling match, searing into my retinas. My hands trembled as I stared at the profile picture next to mine. Emily's, my wife of 5 years, the woman I'd built a life with, shared a bed with, dreamed of children with. Bile rose in my throat, hot and acidic, and I barely made it to the bathroom before vomiting into the sink. The porcelain was cold under my palms, the mirror reflecting a stranger's face. Pale, eyes wild with horror. How could this be? We'd met in college, fallen in love over late-night coffees and stolen kisses. But now the truth clawed at me. She was my half-sister. My father's secret affair, buried for decades, had birthed this nightmare. And worse, did she know? The thought ignited a fury so primal it blurred my vision. A red haze of betrayal that whispered promises of vengeance in the quiet of our empty home. I slammed the laptop shut, the click echoing like a gunshot in the silent living room. The air smelled of her lavender perfume, lingering from that morning when she'd kissed me goodbye. Her lips soft and familiar. Now that memory twisted into something grotesque. I paced the hardwood floors, each step a thunder in my chest, my mind racing through fragments of our life together. The wedding photos on the mantel mocked me. Us smiling under a canopy of white roses, oblivious. My father's awkward toast at the reception. His eyes darting away when he mentioned family ties. Had he known? The bastard. He'd died 2 years ago, taking his secrets to the grave, but my mother. She was still alive, sipping tea in her suburban bungalow, pretending to be the epitome of normalcy. Heartbreak crashed over me like a wave, drowning the anger momentarily. I collapsed onto the couch, burying my face in my hands. Emily's laughter echoed in my memory, the way she'd curl into me during thunderstorms, whispering how safe she felt. Was it all a lie? Or was she as ignorant as I had been? The DNA kit had been a whim, a Christmas gift from a friend, meant to trace ancestry for fun. Fun. The word tasted like ash. I grabbed my phone, fingers hovering over her number. Call her. Confront her. Well, not yet. Doubt crept in, slimy and insidious. What if it was a mistake? Lab screw-up. But deep down I knew. The resemblances I'd always chalked up to coincidence. Our shared dimples, the way our eyes crinkled when we smiled, now screamed the truth. That night when Emily came home, I forced a smile, my jaw aching from the effort. She breezed in, her coat dusted with rain, carrying takeout from our favorite Thai place. "Rough day?" she asked, tilting her head, those green eyes. My eyes, God help me, searching my face. I nodded, mumbling about work stress, and we ate in front of the TV, her hand on my knee like always. But every touch burned, a reminder of the abomination we'd unwittingly committed. Guilt gnawed at me, not just for what we'd done, but for the rage building inside, a cold resolve forming like ice in my veins. If she didn't know, telling her would shatter us both. But if she did? If she'd hidden it? The thought fueled fantasies of justice, dark and vivid. I imagined her face crumpling in confession, begging forgiveness. Or worse, denying it with that innocent smile. Revenge simmered, not hot and impulsive, but calculated, waiting. The next morning I called in sick to work, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Emily left with a peck on my cheek, oblivious, and I drove to my mother's house, the highway a blur of gray skies and honking cars. The suburbs unfolded in neat rows of picket fences, a facade of perfection that now sickened me. Mom answered the door in her floral apron, flour on her hands from baking. "Alex! What a surprise! Come in, dear." Her voice was warm, but her eyes flickered with something, nerves, guilt. I followed her to the kitchen, the scent of cinnamon cloying, sticking to my throat. We sat at the table, steam rising from our coffee mugs. I didn't waste time. "Mom, I need to know about Dad's affairs." Her cup clattered against the saucer, her face paling. "What? Why bring that up now?" I leaned forward, my voice low, laced with suppressed fury. "Because I did a DNA test. And Emily. She's my half-sister. The words hung in the air, heavy and damning. Mom's hand flew to her mouth, eyes widening in horror. But was it genuine? Oh God, Alex. I suspected, but I never knew for sure. Suspected. Rage flared, hot and unyielding. You suspected. And you let us get married. What the hell, Mom? She crumpled, tears streaming down her wrinkled cheeks. Your father had a fling with her mother before we met. It was over by the time Emily was born. I found out years later, but by then you two were already dating. I thought, what good would it do to stir up old pain? You were so happy. Happy. The word ignited resentment, a burning coal in my chest. She'd chosen silence over truth, condemning us to this hell. I stood, chair scraping harshly against the tile. You ruined us. Both of us. Her sobs followed me out the door, but they did nothing to quench the fire. Betrayal from my own mother. Humiliation twisted with heartbreak. Driving home, I gripped the wheel until my knuckles whitened, obsessing over her words. Suspected. Not new. But enough to damn her. Back home, I rifled through old photo albums, seeking clues, my mind a whirlwind of denial and plotting. There, in faded Polaroids, Dad with a woman who looked eerily like Emily's mom, arms linked at some party. The pieces fit, a puzzle I wished I'd never solved. Obsession took root. Hours spent online, researching incest laws, genetic risks, anonymous forums where others shared similar horrors. One post stood out. If they knew and hid it, make them pay. Slowly, the idea burrowed in, seductive. Revenge wasn't just anger. It was justice, cold and precise. Emily noticed my distance that evening. We were in bed, the sheets tangled around us, her head on my chest. What's wrong, Alex? You've been off since yesterday. Her voice was soft, concerned. I hesitated, heart pounding. Tell her. Well, not until I knew if she was complicit. Just work stuff. Deadline stress. She sighed, tracing circles on my skin. You can talk to me, you know. We're in this together. Together. The irony stabbed deep. I pulled her closer, masking my revulsion with affection. But inside, doubt festered. Had her mother told her? Was this all a twisted game? The following days blurred into a haze of feigned normalcy. At work, I stared at my computer, emails unread, my thoughts consumed by vengeance. Humiliation gnawed. How many friends had joked about our soulmate resemblance? Heartbreak warred with resentment. I loved her still, or thought I did, but the betrayal poisoned it. One night, alone while she visited friends, I hacked into her email. Guilt pricking at me, but obsession winning. There, buried in old messages, an exchange with her mother from before our wedding. Mom about Dad. Does Alex know? Her reply. No, and let's keep it that way. It's ancient history. Emily's response. Okay, but it feels wrong. She knew. The screen blurred with tears of rage. She fucking knew. Fury exploded, a supernova in my chest. I smashed a vase against the wall, shards scattering like my shattered trust. She knew and married me anyway. For what? Love. Convenience. The house felt suffocating, walls closing in with memories tainted. I paced, breathing ragged, fantasies darkening. Expose her, ruin her career, make her feel the isolation I now endured. But no, too crude. Revenge needed subtlety. A slow unraveling like the lie she'd woven. Moral conflict surged. Did I still love her? Part of me did, the part that remembered our vows. But the betrayal eclipsed it, birthing a cold resolve. I'd play the long game, let her think all was well, while I dismantled her world from the shadows. The plan coalesced over sleepless nights. First gather proof, more DNA tests, old letters. Then anonymous tips to her workplace, hinting at family scandals. Make her question everything just as I had. Fear mingled with excitement. What if she caught on? Doubt whispered, but resentment drowned it. Guilt too, for destroying what we had, but her deception justified it. Or so I told myself. A week later at dinner, Tension crackled unspoken. She set down her fork, eyes meeting mine. Alex, we need to talk. I've been feeling distant. My heart raced. Did she suspect? I smiled, masking the storm. Me too. Maybe a weekend getaway. She nodded, relieved, but her eyes held shadows. Subtle hints, her fidgeting avoided touches. Was she planning her own escape? Suspense built, a taut wire ready to snap. The cabin we'd rented nestled in the woods, autumn leaves crunching underfoot like brittle bones. The air was crisp, scented with pine and damp earth, a far cry from our city's concrete jungle. Emily gripped my hand as we unpacked, her smile tentative. "This will be good for us," she said, voice laced with hope. I nodded, squeezing back, but inside obsession churned. This getaway was my stage, a place to confront, to exact the first threads of revenge. The isolation amplified everything. The creak of floorboards, the wind howling like accusatory whispers. That first night by the fireplace, flames dancing shadows across her face, I broached it subtly. "Ever think about our families? Secrets they keep." She stiffened, wine glass pausing mid-sip. "What do you mean?" Her tone was casual, but her knuckles whitened. I shrugged, feigning nonchalance. "Just wondering. Did your mom ever mention my dad?" She laughed, forced and brittle. "Ancient history. Why dredge it up?" "Because you knew I thought," rage simmering. Instead I changed the subject, but the seed was planted. Suspense thickened. Her glances grew wary, conversations clipped. Inner conflict raged as we hiked the next day, boots sinking into muddy trails, birdsong mocking our silence. Heartbreak resurfaced. Memories of past trips, her laughter genuine then. Was I monstrous for this? Doubt clawed. Maybe she hid it out of love, fear of losing me. But resentment won. Betrayal's sting was too deep. Back at the cabin, I accidentally left the DNA report on the table, folded but visible. She found it while I pretended to shower, her gasp audible through the door. I emerged to her holding it, face ashen. "Alex! What is this?" Tears welled, but was it remorse or performance? Fury boiled over. "You tell me, Emily. Or should I say, sister?" The word spat like venom. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I found out right before the wedding. Mom told me. But I loved you so much. I couldn't lose you." Loved. The confession fueled my obsession. "You let us live a lie. Murray. Sleep together." Revulsion twisted her features. Or was it guilt? I thought we could move past it. Pretend it never happened. Cold resolve hardened. Pretend. Like you pretended not to know. She reached for me, but I recoiled, the touch electric with betrayal. Dialogue escalated, raw and revealing. "Please, Alex. We can get help. Therapy. Annul the marriage quietly." Quietly. Always hiding. "No. You don't get to decide anymore." Humiliation surged. Years of intimacy, now incestuous mockery. I stormed out, rain lashing my face, planning the next strike. Expose it all to our friends, her job. Make her feel the isolation. But as night fell, moral grayness deepened. In the cabin's dim light, she pleaded, voice breaking. "I was scared. Mom said it would destroy you." Manipulation. Or truth? Doubt flickered, but resentment pushed forward. I slept on the couch, dreams haunted by twisted visions of justice. The drive home was silent, tension a living entity. Back in the city, I began the unraveling. Anonymous emails to her boss. Check her family ties, scandal brewing. Hints on social media, veiled but damning. She grew paranoid, jumping at notifications, circles under her eyes. "Someone's out to get me," she confided one night, voice trembling. I held her, suppressing a grim smile. "We'll figure it out." Irony bitter on my tongue. Suspense peaked as clues mounted. She confronted her mother. Their argument overheard via planted recorder. Guilt admissions, tears. My plan evolved. Forged documents implying embezzlement at her job, tied to family favors. Morally conflicted. I'd become the deceiver, but justified I rationalized. Obsession consumed. Work suffered, friends noticed my hollow eyes. Then the twist unraveled. One evening Emily sat me down, face resolute. I know it's you, Alex. The leaks, the sabotage. Shock jolted me. How? I hired a PI. Traced the IPs. Fury in her eyes but also heartbreak. Why? To ruin me. I confessed everything, voice cracking. You betrayed me first. She shook her head, pulling out a folder. No. Look. Inside, another DNA report. I did my own test after you left that one out. We're not related, Alex. The first was a lab error. Mixed samples. Mom's secret. Was just a rumor Dad spread to hurt her during their divorce. Disbelief crashed. But the emails. She sighed. Misunderstandings. I panicked, thought you knew something else. Horror dawned. My revenge built on a lie. The lab confirmed. Error. Humiliation reversed, now mine. I'd nearly destroyed her over nothing. Guilt flooded, cold and suffocating. She stood, bags packed. I can't stay. You've become someone I don't know. The door clicked shut, echoing my resolve's collapse. In the empty house, poetic justice struck. My paranoia birthed the real betrayal. Obsession's cost, our love shattered by my hand. Revenge's twist. It consumed the avenger.